The 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying session has just took place, and this is the starting grid, and a lot of these drivers have pissed me off because they are making me look bad in front of the 12 people who regularly watch my video because they didn't do a good enough job for my race predictions to come true. Earlier, I made this race prediction of the top 10 and I don't think it's happening. Some of it is pretty solid, some of it is true. My predictions are, pretty unshakable. But this time it was a little bit shakeable because these guys didn't do a good enough of job, particularly some of the drivers who have made me look really bad for all intents and purposes. And I'm gonna put some curses on those type of drivers, and it will affect the outcome of the 2025 Formula 1 season. But we will start from the bottom, make all the way up to the top, analyzing the performance of each of the drivers in the session, starting with Alexander Albon, who predicted that he will be at the back of the grid. He said that their car will struggle to perform in the Hungaroring, which is very understandable because if you remember, the Williams have engine issues, like engine cooling issues. Alexander Albon's car in particular had that problem. Carlos Sainz's car suffered from the brake cooling issues. It seems that they have sorted that one out, but Alexander Albon's issues are still here. So as he predicted, he is at the bottom of the grid. So no surprises there. There are a few drivers on the grid who didn't disappoint me based on the starting grid, but some of them did, and we will know who they are as time moves along. Then Nico Hulkenberg. This is a predictable qualifying position for this guy. I don't know, for some reason he is incapable of qualifying well this season. I guess when you grow old, like in mixed martial arts, when you grow old, the first thing that goes away is your reflex goes away. In Formula 1 drivers, I think the same thing is true. Their reflexes are now shit. And because of that, Nico Hulkenberg is incapable of qualifying. There's another driver who has forgotten how to qualify, attributed to age. There are exceptions to it. You know who they are. But usually when Formula 1 drivers age, their reflexes goes away, which is critical to hook in a good qualifying lap. Like, you have to be very quick, high adrenaline, ultra focused, that sort of thing. So I think Nico Hulkenberg has lost it this year because he is consistently qualifying at the back of the grid. Thank God he got that podium. Up next, we will go to Esteban Ocon. This one cheered me up a little bit because, as you all know, I hate this guy. So very much happy and satisfied. Saturday night is going to be good, and I'll sleep peacefully is what I'm trying to say. So Esteban Ocon, as usual, screwed up his qualifying, P18 on the grid, and if he scores some points from here tomorrow in the race, I'm gonna be pretty mad. Now up next, we have Pierre Gasly. I predicted Pierre Gasly will make it all the way to Q3, top 10. I thought he was going to make it into Q3, but then he's going to drop out of the points because they really don't have pace. And this is one of those tracks where they're just going to be exposed, and the wind and all of those track conditions are going to affect him a lot. The only rescue he had, only opportunity he had, was rain. And I don't think FIA is pretty open-minded to have wet races. So we will not have wet races. We will have it when the rain has stopped and the track is dying. So some laps will be wet, like in Spa at best. That's the best case scenario, by the way. So, Pierre Gasly, horrible weekend. This entire year is horrible. And he said that in the pre-race press conference as well. He said that we have to be realistic in what you can achieve with the package that you have. And, and basically they're just in the preparatory phase for 2026. Most of the teams are. They're placing all the things in place as in getting used to each other, getting used to the processes, with Franco Colapinto in particular because he's the new guy. So you have to make sure that the second driver also feels comfortable. So we'll talk about that when we get to him here. Pierre Gasly, pretty predictable, but I kind of hoped that he would go into Q3. Up next, we have Yuki Tsunoda, another guy who surprised me. I predicted that Yuki Tsunoda will finish in the points yesterday, and he has failed me, this little guy. And this is one of the primary reasons why I'm happy that he is leaving Formula One at the end of 2025. No one has renewed contract. No one seems to be interested in him. Okay, like he's just one of those guys who, like, when he's going out, you just stay silent and just don't say anything. Like, that's basically, I mean, you let him go. And he has proven it. Like, recently, he has shown some sign of progress. I know Max Verstappen is struggling as well. All right? But Yuki Tsunoda, we know he's struggling. But there were some signs of hope, especially in the Belgian Grand Prix, where he made it into Q3. But now he just fucked it up. Like, back to his original position. And this is exactly why he is not staying in Formula One beyond 2025. So up next, we have Kimi Antonelli. So Kimi, he actually did a good enough job. I thought that he will be like P12 or something. Let me see. Like, did I predict him to score any points? Yes, rightfully so. I did not predict Kimi Antonelli is going to score some points, and he will not score some points. But like, I don't know who he's going to battle with. Probably these three will put on an amazing show. Yuki Tsunoda and Franco Colapinto had that crash in Austria where Yuki failed to overtake Franco Colapinto. Like, that's how shit he is. So we will see if these three guys have a nice, amazing battle. Like, right now, that's the best thing we can hope for in a track like Hungaroring. Like, fuck the points. The championship is boring. Nobody cares about the papaya rules and the structured fights that these guys are having. There is no animosity there. We will talk about the title fight in a second. So Kimi Antonelli did good job. And these four people will have like some kind of battle. Up next, we have Franco Colapinto. Great job by Franco Colapinto, by the way. This one caught me out by surprise. I thought this guy will be like P18 or P19, like the usual stuff. Like, you know, he is as predictable as Nico Hulkenberg in 2025 Formula One qualifying sessions. So I thought he would be out, but it seems that he has found his groove. He has understood the car, and now he is putting in some decent lap times. He's at least confident in pushing the car to its limit and driving it there, is what I'm trying to say. And this has happened because Flavio Briatore has assured him, probably behind the scenes, because we don't have any footage of it, that he's going to stay in the team for the foreseeable future. That's a good thing. When you put a rookie and say that within 6 races you have to, you know, make it into Q3 and start qualifying into points, it's going to be very stressful for them because they're new, they're just getting used to Formula One, all these media duties. Like back in the day, the early 2000s and stuff like that, it was not that difficult, not that hectic as today, is what I'm saying. Because those days, Lewis Hamilton will win and he's gonna go fuck some grid girls, have some fun. Like, that was the time. But these days, it's just everything has a cause attached to it. You have to stand up for something. It's insane. All of the processes today is just very, very difficult. So Franco Colapinto or any rookie needs time to be used to all of that. And now he is used to all of it, used to the pressure of Formula One. He is accustomed to the pace of Formula One weekends. And he is also working well with the engineers, it seems. Because it also takes time to form a relationship with the engineers and be comfortable around them enough to question them and, you know, come up with your own solution. I mean, obviously, you also need the experience to have the knowledge to question your engineers or recommend them suggestions. All of that has this outcome that he is qualified. Surprisingly, I'm happy for the kid. I'm based on what he has gone through his entire life. I am happy for Franco Colapinto. This is a guy we can all get behind, guys. I think we have found our new championship contender. Currently, it's Oscar Piastri, but in the future, if Piastri and Franco fight for the title, if that happens, then we know who to get behind. So up next, we have Carlos Sainz. The brake cooling issues are sorted, but I was not expecting him to be ahead of Alex Albon. He was on the back foot this entire season, but I guess I underestimated the smooth operator. He put in a great lap, and for a second it looked like he's gonna go to Q3. Like, for a second it looked like he's put in a good lap time. His exit out of turn 1 was good, and even through the second DRS, like up to turn 4, I think he had a good lap. And for a second, I'm like, okay, Carlos can go to Q3 on a track they're supposed to struggle, but then obviously it was too good to be true, and then he popped back out. Great position for him. He's not going to score any points, but great position for him. Phenomenal. Up next, we have Lewis Hamilton. Okay, this guy disappointed me because I predicted he's going to qualify around P5 and P6, and that's where he's going to finish. But right now, I don't think he's scoring any points because ahead of him are the two Haas's and Oliver Bearman. Oliver Bearman is cursed to finish P11. So even if you ignore him, because he also has a fast car, these two are particularly faster. Track evolved a lot and the conditions changed a lot with the clouds and the wind in the Q3, and these two guys being rookies couldn't hook in a perfect lap time. That's why they're P9 and P10. You can understand that. Like everybody was, like very few people were improving. I think only Charles Leclerc improved in the second run. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, like everybody. I think the only other person who improved a little bit marginally was Max Verstappen, but I don't think anyone improved that much. So these two guys are rookies, conditions will change, but they have a significantly faster car. Faster than what Lewis Hamilton will be capable of extracting out of the Ferrari. And the thing is, right now I'm starting to believe that Ferrari has made the wrong investment. Because it's been 14 races, this is the 14th weekend. More than 50% of the races of the 2025 Formula 1 season have been completed. And we got Lewis Hamilton exiting in Q2, getting knocked out in Q2 on the radio. And right now, the reasons are running out. Because earlier you could say that, okay, he's new in the team, the Ferrari is a different type of car, it was designed around the needs of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, like their engineering feedback made that car what it is, and this is the last year of the same regulation, so it will be difficult to make that many changes to adapt to Lewis Hamilton's style. I get all of that, but there's only so many times you can use that statement. He's not a rookie. He's a 7-time world champion. I think what we are seeing is, like just like with tires, they fall off a cliff. I think the same thing happened with Lewis Hamilton from like 2024 or something like that. Like the entire ground effect era, Lewis looks like he is not the world champion. Like he kind of looks like that. I'm not gonna, obviously there are moments of brilliance. From 2022 to today, there have been amazing races that Lewis looked unbeatable. The best example is the 2025 Belgian Grand Prix, the previous race. I'm not saying that, so don't get all crazy. What I'm saying is it's been 14 races and you're struggling to make it into Q3, and on the radio it seems like you repeated a mistake. And he said that on the radio after he was knocked out in Q2. He said that every time, like it was an elongated every time, which means that it's a recurring issue. If it's a recurring issue, I mean, I think it's the driver's issue. Like that's the only conclusion I can draw, because Charles Leclerc is on pole position and Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, after 14 races is P12. So that tells everything, and I think it is related to a little bit of what I was talking about, Nico, about the reaction time and, you know, how quickly you can hook in a qualifying lap, because in quali, your adrenaline is just through the roof, right? You're just ultra focused, zoomed in, and like tunnel vision, like that sort of thing. And in quali, as you grow older, that reflex, that just goes away. Like that's the first thing that goes away. And kind of like Pirelli tires, they go off a cliff, right? I think the same thing is happening with Lewis Hamilton. What he needs to do right now is to go ahead and start eating ham sandwiches, because the veganism, it accelerates the decay of the brain. It ruins your spinal system. Like I have like seen it in some videos on YouTube, so they must be true. He needs to start eating some bacon strips and all that type of stuff. Chicken, eat some chicken. Chicken is good for you. Fish, that too. So he needs to go ahead and get on that, like the human diet, not the vegan stuff that he's promoting and trying to be so edgy. I mean, he's a street kid, man. I really don't know why he is being all that jazz, you know what I'm saying? Like all that weird celebrity type of thing, pretending to be better than you. I mean, he is better than us in many, many ways. I'm not saying that. But he needs to go get out of the vegan lifestyle. That's the conclusion. So up next, we have Oliver Bearman. So this is, I think, the magnetic position of Oliver Bearman. I think he should change his car number to 11. I think that's the only way he can avoid being on P11. Do we have, like, I think Sergio Perez. Okay, Sergio Perez has the car number 11, so he's not on the grid right now. This is the best time to change your car number to 11. 87 is not cancelling this 11th cars because he's always just outside of the points, even though he has the pace to get into the points. If you look at the 2025 Belgian Grand Prix, he was P11 with the pace to overtake Pierre Gasly, who finished P10. So he definitely needs to change his car number. There's nothing else wrong. Like everything in the entire session for this guy went very smoothly. So it is not like he was very slower or made any like major mistakes. I mean, perhaps he definitely made some mistakes, but he needs to change his car number. That's the only way he can get out of this cars. And extremely happy that a rookie is beating the shit out of Esteban Ocon, and that's why I want him to do much better. That's why he needs to adopt the car number 11, so that Esteban Ocon should get depression by the end of the 2025. Like, that's how good Oliver Bearman needs to go ahead and score points consistently from tomorrow, from the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix, like P6 or like P5 or something like that. And Esteban should make mistakes and finish dead last. By the end of 2025, Esteban should be a defeated man. That's what I want. Up next, we have Isaac Hadjar. He disappointed me massively because I predicted him, Isaac Hadjar, a P7. So initially, I predicted both of the Red Bulls will finish in the points and one of the Racing Bulls will finish in the points. But since this is 2025, opposite will happen. I think the both of the Racing Bulls will finish in the points and only one of the Red Bull, if he is lucky, going to finish in the points. Isaac Hadjar, I thought he will qualify top 5, man. I genuinely believe so. After the Q2 session, I genuinely believe Isaac Hadjar top 5 qualifying. And the problem is, like I just mentioned, right? The track evolved so much. It was windy and things were changing drastically, and that the grip level also changed. There were a little bit of rain at some point, but then the wind direction actually changed massively. So that caught out Isaac Hadjar, who is a rookie, still needs to learn how to make the car go the way he wants it to go in windy and rapidly changing weather conditions, because you have to adapt every corner. You have to change your behavior, change how you drive the car, corner to corner, not what you did the previous lap or in the previous run. And that's only going to happen after a little bit of experience. So that's going to sort itself out. No big worries. He's going to finish in the points. Up next, we have Liam Lawson, and he surprised me because if you remember properly, Liam Lawson has not been that promising in qualifying sessions. Monaco was an aberration, is what I would say. But in general, he's not that good in qualifying compared to Isaac Hadjar, at least. Like, at least I thought that Lawson will be behind Hadjar, but this is 2025 and crazy things are happening. Obviously not at the front of the field. That's very predictable, and that's why the title fight is boring. But Liam Lawson, great session, has the pace to overtake those in front, and this is what I want to see tomorrow, because in race pace Liam Lawson is much better. Isaac Hadjar can be amazing, but also he can incur some damage. Like, something always happens to Isaac Hadjar. There is some issue and he has to manage that issue, and he drops like a stone. But Liam Lawson generally, if he is like out of trouble and gets into safely, he is going to be racy, and they have a faster car compared to Max Verstappen's Red Bull. So if the possibility arises, if Liam Lawson is in the DRS of Max Verstappen, does he hold position, or does he attack, or does Max Verstappen just let him go? Like, what does happen in that situation? Because that's gonna happen, bro. If he drives his heart out, if he's not a pussy, then he will attack Max Verstappen like he did with Sergio Perez. And then, like in that battle, he will also defend harshly against Max Verstappen because you're battling for position. He's in a shit box. Not your fault. You used to be in that car. You have rage against that team, and you need to go ahead and take it out on the track. So, Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, definitely a threat to Max Verstappen's P8, is what I'm trying to say. So it will be interesting to see how the race pans out between these two, because these two deserve to be much up here based on how their pace is, and both of the drivers were very confident coming into the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. Isaac Hadjar said it in the pre-race press conference on Thursday that this is a track that should suit us and we will be quicker. There are a lot more corners, so we can do better. It's kind of like Monaco without the walls. In Monaco, these two had a phenomenal result. It's gonna repeat tomorrow, but the Max Verstappen situation, that'll be interesting. So up next, we have Max Verstappen. I thought he wouldn't make to Q3 after the first qualifying session. Like, I looked at Q1, I looked at Q2, the first run of Q2, and I'm like, this guy ain't making it. And in the second run, he managed to put in a lap. Obviously, he didn't have two tires. The first run was on used mediums. I knew that, but still, I mean, it looked like too big of a gap to even be made up by a fresh set of mediums. But I think he found a little bit of extra time because of the track evolution, and he has the experience and the knowledge and the intelligence to adapt to the changing track quickly. That's why he beat these two guys. But he does have a slower car than these two. We have seen it in the qualifying sessions, like all of the qualifying sessions. We have seen it in all of the practice sessions. That's more important. Isaac Hadjar in particular, in the long runs practice sessions, has been ahead of Max Verstappen. It's insane that Racing Bulls are officially a faster car than the Red Bull. If the Red Bull allows, make it happen. Put Max Verstappen in one of these two cars. I want to see how the real potential of the Racing Bull car. When the midfield teams make a good car, I really want to see like drivers like Fernando and all these good drivers, Charles Leclerc, Piastri, to drive it to extract the maximum performance. And I think Max Verstappen with the Racing Bull for the remainder of the season will score more points than he would in the Red Bull. This is like not a serious prediction, but like a general prediction. Red Bull's performance is going to fall off a cliff from now on. So these two guys have a faster car, and we will see how Max defends against them, because he is going to be attacked. When you are on P8, you are attacking against people who will defend it with like for their life, because for these guys, these points are very valuable. And good luck getting past Fernando Alonso in Hungarian. Good fucking luck. So even if you get past Gabi and Lance Stroll, and Lance Stroll is a danger too. So I want to see what Max Verstappen does on a track like Hungarian, where he doesn't have the clear pace advantage. Obviously, in terms of racecraft and everything and intelligence and setting it up, sending a dummy, making the overtake, I will still give the mental and all types of edge to Max Verstappen massively, without a doubt. But you can only do so much if it's a shitbox. If he drops behind these two, and maybe the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, because Lewis is good in races. I shit on him a lot because of his qualifying performance, but in race days, he is as reliable as it gets. Trust me on this. So if all these people overtake Max, and because these guys, their position is higher up. Oliver Bearman definitely wants to score points after a run of P11 finishes. Lewis Hamilton wants to go up there because the Ferrari has pace, and he will. On race day, they're pretty good. These two have a faster car. So Max has danger ahead and danger below. So this is one of the primary reasons why Max Verstappen should stay in Red Bull Racing, because it is great entertainment. It's just fun to see. Let's see what a guy can do with an absolutely shitbox of a car. So we will see that tomorrow. And good luck, Max Verstappen. We will see what happens. And it's gonna rain tonight all over the Hungarian, so the rubber is gonna wash off. It's going to be a high deg track tomorrow, and the Red Bull is technically not as good as the others around him in managing the tires. And it's Hungary, which means you'll be running close to each other, a lot of turbulent air, we will see. The tire situation for Max Verstappen will be aggravated, is all I'm going to say. So we move on. Gabriel Bortoleto. Great job again by him. This guy looks like a puppet. I mean, this picture in particular. Anyway, so Gabriel Bortoleto, great performance by him. He has been a very reliable driver on Saturdays. If you remember, I think his first point scoring, where did he score his first points? I think he was P8. So he was P8, started P8, finished P8. Great qualifying then too. So he started P7. If he leads into turn 1, if he has a good start, then he's going to lead against Max Verstappen. And that's the thing. I want to see him, because ahead of him is Lance Stroll. Very dangerous guy. And behind him is Max Verstappen. And you want to be P7, because if Max Verstappen overtakes you, then it's definite that Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar will overtake you. So you have to defend for your life, and it is possible. You go ahead and watch the 2021 Fernando Alonso defense against Lewis Hamilton entire video over and over again, and remember that racing line, and you just go to that racing line, practice it on the simulator tonight as well, and you just follow that racing line whenever you have someone challenging you. This is exactly what Gabriel Bortoleto do, and his manager is Fernando Alonso, so he can go ahead and talk to him and be like, how do I defend a multiple world champion around Hungaroring? And he's going to give you the because Fernando Alonso himself has defended multiple laps against a multiple world champion around Hungaroring. So Gabriel Bortoleto, he definitely has the knowledge advantage, because Max Verstappen, even though with all his greatness, he's the second coming of Jesus Christ, he's going to fall beneath Magic Alonso. So we will see how that pans out. Up next, we have Lance Stroll. Everybody needs to put some respect on this guy's name. I don't understand the hatred that he is getting. I think it is completely unjustified. Okay, he is not as a polished product as everybody else around him. Okay, it's like shit happens. The 5 fingers on your hand are not all the same, and you need all the different shapes and sizes of fingers. That's a positive way to look at it, and that's how you should look at it. Because if it weren't for Lance Stroll, there would be no Eddie Jordan's Formula 1 team alive today. If it wasn't for him, Fernando Alonso will not have the opportunity to drive an Adrian Newey designed Formula 1 car in 2026. So you have to respect him, and also definitely respect him for qualifying P6. He's not that behind Fernando Alonso. If you look at the lap time, it's very close. So you can't even go ahead and say that he's bad anymore. Something has happened. I think he has woken up in the 2025 season. Something has happened. And Adrian Newey has said in an interview that Lance Stroll gets a bad rep. He's not that bad of a driver. Maybe those words had an effect on him. But I don't know. He definitely looks like he can score some points. But he sucks at managing the tires. So that's one of the things that he needs to do. And he needs to learn how he can manage his tires. But then there's always going to be people behind him who will challenge him. So he also needs to defend. Overtaking Lance is not going to be easy, but he tends to give up. Because if he sees the Red Bull of Max Verstappen coming, he's like, okay, just fucking let him go. Because he doesn't care about the points. He's bigger than that. He doesn't care about points. He's the GOAT. He is like, you know what, let Max Verstappen go. Let him score some extra points. Good for him. Because he doesn't need to. He already knows how talented he is. He doesn't need the validation of championship points given at the end of the Grand Prix to determine his self-worth. He's better than all of us. So Lance Stroll is definitely going to finish some points, but he looks like the kind of guy who will drop. But so far, some of my predictions have gone completely crazy, so I don't know. P6 for Lance Stroll looks really good. Up next, Fernando Alonso, neck and neck with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. And if you think about it, all the first 5 people are within a tenth. So things were pretty close, and it's just a bit of natural cause performance, because these two naturally have a faster car, obviously, without a doubt. George Russell, Mercedes, relatively faster than Fernando Alonso, but I would say George Russell is also very nifty around the Hungaroring. So the only people he's behind are the people with faster cars. So that's understandable. He's within a tenth, I think a tenth and a bit from pole position on such a difficult track. And this is a track that these guys are good because this track has a lower average speed and a lot of corners. So good to see Fernando Alonso P5, just a tenth from pole position. Up next, we have George Russell. The first thing I want to say is good job, George Russell, and that pissed me off. His performance actually pissed me off, even though congratulations to him for extracting such a good lap out of that Mercedes. Based on the recent races and their performance in the practice sessions, and also Kimi's performance in the practice sessions, I thought this motherfucker was going to qualify like P6 or something like that, but he will finish in like P5. But now it appears that P4 is on the table. I hope Fernando pips him at the start, but George Russell, Osama bin Russell, is going to be feisty. Lando Norris will have a poorer start, who is next to him, so he can only go forward if for the time being. And then the pit strategy is going to make a mega difference. And let's see if George Russell can squeeze a podium position out of this. It's going to be funny if it happens. Especially that's on the table if the dynamic conditions happen in tomorrow's race, which is a very much a huge likelihood. There is nothing much to say about George Russell. He's not that interesting of a person, He is not. There is not a lot of lore. The contract situation is boring, and the only reason he is staying in Mercedes and now he can negotiate a better contract deal in Mercedes is because Max Verstappen was not able to invoke the exit clause. So that's why he even has a strong footing in the Mercedes contract discussion, right? So nothing much to say about George Russell. Good luck to him. Great job in qualifying. We move on. Lando Norris, this fucking idiot. He deserves to lose the 2025 Formula One World Championship. That's the most important thing, guys, you need to know. And if this is the only takeaway if you can take one takeaway from this entire video, which is going to be very long, I guess, is that Lando Norris deserves to lose the 2025 Formula One World Championship. And the first reason is that in Hungaroring, you are supposed to take pole. Why are you P3? This is a track that suits you better. This is your track. You were supposed to take pole position. You had pole last year. Marginally from Oscar Piastri, but you had pole position. And you had it almost this time as well, but you bottled it. And also, if you're not good in tracks that are supposed to be good for you, then you are not going to be good at tracks or even remotely as competitive as Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc and all of the other people around you who are good drivers. Then, might as well just go home, because you're 7 years in Formula One. And with the fastest car, you cannot take pole position on a track that suits you, which is Hungaroring. In tracks where you don't have to do a lot of thinking about which racing line to take around which corner and everything is just predetermined, you just follow a specific pattern of accelerating, braking, upshifting, downshifting, which is Hungaroring, kind of like Monaco. Just stick to the racing line and do what you're supposed to do. Textbook, you will do it. But you failed at that. And for this reason, we are not having a fun title fight. Because Norris is not competitive, even on tracks where he's supposed to be competitive. So I have zero hope for him for tomorrow. And Lando Norris is not the kind of guy who gains position into turn 1 on any kind of Grand Prix. So you can count on him for that. My prediction didn't come right about pole position. He failed me there, qualified P3. What a selfish person Lando Norris is. But my prediction was Lando Norris will finish P2 in the race. But I don't know. He can disappoint me again. Maybe he will finish P4 or P5. Who knows? But you can only expect him to not gain any position in lap 1. So probably later on, because Charles's pace will drop off and both of the McLaren are rocket ships. So they're probably going to overtake Charles. But we will see how good Lando is in overtaking. I guess this is another test for him. He is going to have to work hard to secure the win if he wants to win. So we will see about that. Up next, we have Oscar Piastri. Qualified P2, I predicted this for him. I predicted that, not exactly this, but I predicted that he will not have pole. I predicted that he will be qualifying P3. And P1 Norris, P2 Charles, and P3 Piastri qualifying prediction. And Oscar will go ahead and overtake Charles Leclerc on track, and then he will overtake Lando Norris by undercutting him. Like, that was the whole prediction that I had for the Oscar Piastri victory, as you can see. But now it seems that things have changed and he's going to get Charles Leclerc by pace. The only thing he needs to take care of right now is to not get undercut by Lando Norris. So if Oscar clears Leclerc and Lando takes a lot of time clearing Leclerc, then Oscar has sealed the victory, because he will have time to react. Lando will lose some time behind Charles Leclerc. His racecraft is not as good as Piastri, not as decisive as making overtakes as Oscar Piastri. So that is definitely going to work in his advantage if he covers Charles Leclerc quickly. Last year, he started P2 and overtook and took the lead of the race into turn 1. And then Norris was behind Max Verstappen, who just went around the outside and just, kept the position. And then after, in radio, GP has said him to let go of the position, then Norris was P2, but by the time he lost a little bit of time to Oscar Piastri. So that can very well happen again if Oscar Piastri clears Charles Leclerc into turn 1, and it is possible. He's the kind of guy who has a good start. He has a good start against Max Verstappen in Saudi Arabia. He started P2 and took the lead, like effectively the lead, not on the track, but effectively he took the lead. And he can do it again because he will have the inside line. So let's see if he's almost side by side. It doesn't even have to be completely side by side. Even if Oscar Piastri's front axle is near the side pod section of Charles Leclerc, then he's still, he can do the Max Verstappen strategy, which is, not brake and just take the apex. So he can definitely do that strategy. So Oscar Piastri can take the lead, and then it is on Charles Leclerc to hold off Lando Norris for as long as possible, and then we'll have a Piastri victory. Then Lando Norris can undercut Charles Leclerc for P2 or whatever it is. Finally, we have Charles Leclerc. He's just making Lewis Hamilton look bad. Like, that's his full-time job right now. And this is a very sad story. Like, there are a lot of Formula 1 drivers who have sad stories, and Charles Leclerc is a sad story in Formula 1. All of the potential being wasted in a shit team, and Ferrari is shit every year for different reasons, which is very insanely creative, but the goal remains the same, which is to be shit and inconsistent in race performance, and have poor execution and poor engineering and poor car and poor culture and bad management. All these things, various reasons, are the reason why Charles Leclerc is a sob story of Formula 1. And podium finish definitely on the table. I don't think he's going to keep these two guys behind much, but P3 for Charles Leclerc, that's the best he can do. In qualifying, he was actually expecting P3. But in race, he's going to finish P3. So realistically. So let's just go ahead and make the predictions quickly. I think the top 3 remain the same. I said it earlier at the beginning of the video. If you're still watching, I said it at the beginning of the video that some of my predictions are still going to be true. Some of them, like some of these guys, will go back to the bench, and some of the guys from here will come back here. So we will see. So first 3 remain the same. Max Verstappen. Let's just get Lewis Hamilton out first. Max Verstappen will be, I'm going to predict Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson ahead of Max Verstappen. Oliver Bearman P10. Let's take Yuki Tsunoda outside because he ain't shit. So Oliver Bearman P10, Max Verstappen P9, and then these two guys will finish right ahead of each other. No. I think Isaac can go ahead and get P6. Liam Lawson will be here in P7, I think, and then we'll have Lewis Hamilton in P8. This is my prediction, right? So then George Russell here, P5. Fernando Alonso, P4. And Charles Leclerc, P3, Lando, and Oscar. So this is the provisional top 10. Okay, this is my final prediction, and it's totally unbiased, Carlos Sainz will have some brake heating and overheating and cooling issues. Gabriel Bortoleto will just not have the pace to keep all the other people behind. The tires are going to deg very quickly for him and he will have no grip. And Lance Stroll is Lance Stroll, you know, he will just let people go because he is not defined by the points he scores at the end of each Grand Prix. This is the top 10. Alright, so let me just arrange it. Oh fuck. I rotated it for some reason because I'm a retarded person. Okay, I can you say retarded? Oh fuck me. I did it again. Okay. Alright, now Liam Lawson here. Let's do step by step. Okay, and Max Verstappen, and boom, my OCD is gone. Right, so we have the provisional top 10 finishers here. Seal it, bet the house on it. Don't bet the house on it. Don't gamble. But if you gamble, gamble responsibly. I'm just doing it for lots shits and giggles. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I have to go and sleep. I'll see you in the next one.